Bondage begins where obedience ends. Bondage begins where obedience ends. The slaves in the Negro spiritual looked forward to the day when they would be free. Listen to the message in this spiritual. It says, I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready, Lord, ready to put on my long white robe. I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready, Lord, ready to put on my long white robe. If religion was a thing that money could buy, ready to put on my long white robe. You know the rich would live, the poor would die, ready to put on my long white robe. I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready, Lord, ready to put on my long white robe. Only one train that runs this track, ready to put on my long white robe. It runs from heaven and it runs right back, ready to put on my long white robe. I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready, Lord, ready to put on my long white robe. I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready, Lord, ready to put on my long white robe. I want to be ready. I want to be ready. Don't you want to be ready, Lord, ready to put on your long white robe? I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be ready, Lord, ready to put on my long white robe. And when you come across, when you study music, you come across what are known as white spirituals. And they are often white composers who work with the black keys. In early America, that scale was called the slave scale. And often when white composers work with the slave scale, you come up with white spirituals. I want to play for you what some musicologists think is perhaps the most famous white spiritual built on the slave scale. Just the black notes. Anybody know who wrote that song? A man by the name of John Newton. And you know what John Newton did before he became a Christian? He was the captain of a slave ship and heard this melody coming up out of the belly of a ship and wrote a poem, Amazing Grace, and set his poem to a slave melody. But when he first heard it, it probably sounded something more like this. Tell people wherever I go, we've always known that there was something strangely haunting about that melody. It's because it was born out of suffering. It speaks to the slave in us. I tell people all over the world that I believe sincerely that God wanted that song written so that we would always know that whether black or white, rich or poor, free or bond, in his eyes, we are all connected. And we are connected by grace. One writer said the ground is level at the cross. We're connected by amazing grace. Isn't that wonderful to know? I want you to sing that song with me, but I want you to sing it like you understand a little better now where that song came from. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Powerful, just the melody alone. Wherever you see that song authentically printed, it says words, John Newton, melody, unknown. And I tell the Lord when I get to heaven, I want to meet Enoch and James and John, but I sure would like to meet that slave called unknown. What a gift. What a gift in that song, in that melody alone.